Hey, this is John from Alloy to 11. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Savage Stevens Springfield Model 15A 22 rimfire single shot bolt action rifle. This is produced from 1937 until 1965. This particular one probably being produced sometime between 1948, because in 1948 they went from this 20-inch barrel to a 24-inch barrel, and they went from this simple wooden buttstock to one with a butt plate. As I said, this was produced from 1937 until about 1965, and although I said Stevens Savage Springfield is actually produced under a variety of what you would call hardware store or retail names, my favorite being Shapeleigh's King Nitro. King Nitro, I think, is a hell of a name for a single shot bolt action 22 rifle. Now, before we get too far into it, let's kind of talk about what it's intended for and what it sold for in 1938, because in 1938 this rifle sold for about $3, which is between, say, $80 and $100 now, which is cheaper than what you can find, say, your modern equivalent like Cricket or Chipmunk, which is pretty much the modern equivalent, and those usually, maybe you can find them for $100, but more like $150. So slightly cheaper than what you'd expect today, but it's an extremely simple rifle. It kind of reminds me of the rolling block 22 that I'd looked at before, except the cost to manufacture this is far cheaper. Not to say that this isn't what I would consider a reliable firearm, it just is made incredibly simply. So it's about as simple as you can get, which is cool in some ways. As I said, it's a youth rifle. It's intended for, like, say, a boy's rifle, something that you could hone your marksmanship skills on, your firearm skills with, and that sort of thing. Something you could give to, say, a 10 to 15-year-old, depending on the 10 to 15-year-old. And they could take it out and use it for pest control, use it for target shooting, relatively cheap, single shot, and it teaches you all the principles you need to understand about firearms usage. And one of the people who is said to have used one of these in their youth to learn those sorts of things is Carlos Hathcock, who went on to hone his skills as a Marine sniper, and that's something you should look into if you haven't heard of him. Pretty cool, and I thought is kind of an interesting connection to this very simple, economical 22 rimfire, let's say youth rifle. I don't know if that's PC nowadays, say youth rifle, but it is single shot, so hey, at least you have that. This, like I said, this one I'm pretty sure was made sometime prior to 1948, given the barrel and the stock, although I don't know for sure. Let's go ahead and take a look at how it functions. It's pretty simple. Like I said, it's about as simple as you can get and still have a trigger. Simply swing your bolt handle up, pull it back. Now you've exposed your chamber. It's got this really nice beveled area here, and I really like one of the features of this is the extractor actually works on this bevel, and it creates a bit of tension as you lever it down and lock it in place. Now, once you do that, you have to pull your firing pin back. It's just striker, and it's locked back here. You can see that. And there's a spring inside there. Now I'm going to go ahead and just decock it like so. And what you do, you open it up, put in a shell casing. Well, this is a little bit easier to do when I'm not trying to do it on camera. And when it has a bullet in it, that actually makes it quite a bit easier. There we go. There you go. There's your single round in. Close it, pull it back. There you go. Shoots it right out. One of the things I think is really cool about this, if you look down in there, it's a little hard to see, but the firing pin is what actually acts as the ejector. So as you pull the firing pin, or as you pull the bolt back, the firing pin hits right here, and that is what ejects the casing. So that's pretty cool. Thought that was a really neat usage of that. So now, very simple rear sight. Actually, if you've had a Daisy BB gun, that will look very familiar to you. Since I have it right up here by the camera, let's go ahead and take a look at the markings on it. Stevens Savage Arms Corporation. Let's see, 22 short, long rifle, model 15A. Let's go ahead and take it out of the stock. It's just got this simple takedown screw, although this is not the original takedown screw that's in the rifle. Here's the original. That's kind of hard to see, but the ends of the threads are a bit tapered, but flattened out, so I decided to replace this. And I got the replacement from a company that I actually just talked about in my last video, First Jack Incorporated. Again, they produce a lot of really cool reproduction parts, hard to find parts, and it's a great resource. If you didn't watch my other video where I talked about them, go ahead and check them out. That's First Jack Incorporated. I'm gonna loosen this up. Now it's just got a simple takedown screw. It's captive in the stock. I really want to take this apart because I think it's cool how this trigger mechanism all works. Okay, there we go. And now comes right up out of the stock. It's really simple, although, and I say this having looked at another rifle recently that was a relatively cheap rifle, the inletting on this stock is actually really nice. It's pretty precise and it's all pretty clean. Like I can run my fingers down here and not get a splinter. And that's cool to see on such an economic, say, grade rifle. Now let's look at that trigger mechanism I was talking about, why I think it's cool. Okay. Here is your, is that your sear bar? Yeah. Anyway, open it up, pull it back. You can see that moves down, and then you have this other one here that moves down. That's actually what acts on your firing pin to make it the ejector. But there you go. Now that's become your sear. You pull it back, boop. And then this is also your, there you go, your bolt stop. So that's all really cool that's incorporated just into this one bar and the trigger. I mean, you have two. Oh, there you go. And that's all you have. That is your entire trigger mechanism. It's what holds your bolt in place. It's all really super simple. This is all made out of a pretty simple to manufacture barrel and breech assembly. It's all one piece. And the machining on it, although a bit rough, is serviceable. And I kind of wish that we would see more rifles made like this nowadays, because an entry-level, super economic 22 rimfire rifle would be great to have to train, and so people could learn how to shoot and all those things. But not just that, there are people who don't need a semi-automatic rifle. They don't need anything like that. They maybe just want a 22 to do some pest control and do some occasional target shooting. And if you could get a rifle like that nowadays for less than $100, that'd be great. So if you found this video informative, or if you maybe not seen one of these before and you didn't know what it was, I'll say this: if I saw one of these at a gun store and I saw it for $100 or around that, I would definitely pick it up. It's a very interesting rifle. Handles nicely. I mean, it's a youth rifle, so for an adult it's a little small, but I think it's a great rifle if you can find one cheap. And say this condition, this is definitely a fireable, serviceable condition. You could probably find them better, but still, I like this rifle. And I think for entry-level 22s, this is about as good as you could get unless you bumped up to semi-automatic. And I don't know if I'd really buy a modern one, because at least with the old one, you get some history too. So thanks for watching. If you found it informative, I'd hope you watch some of my other videos. Thanks, and have a great day.